odor. Okay? So they have optical sensation or perception, no, of light and color. So the sharp edges and the minimal defined lines. Art Nouveau is a French word of new art, which is an international art movement of style, decoration, and architecture used during the late 19th century. Expressionism. To present the world slowly from the subjective perspectives, distorting is radically for emotional effect in order to evoke modes, no, or ideas, no, like you are mad, no, you are sad, no, negative, no, emotional effect. So you may distort, no, change the shape. So that is distortion. The art aims to reflect the artist's state of mind rather than the reality of the external world. So that's the aims, no, to reflect the art's state of mind rather than the reality. Okay, Fauvism was the first movement of this period during 1901 to 1906, no, Fauvism, in which color ruled supreme. For the painters who saw the achievements of this great artist, the effect was one of the liberation, and they began to experiment with radical new styles. Okay, that is Fauvism. Dadaism. Wait for a while, class. Dadaism from 1916 to 1920. Okay? Dada strove to have no meaning. No, the interpretation of Dada is dependent entirely on the viewer. So the movement concentrated its anti-war politics through a rejection of the prevailing standards in art, through anti-art cultural works. No? So the movement is anti-war politics. Surrealism, this is a cultural movement. No? Ang surrealism is cultural movement and artistic style that was founded in 1924 by André Breton. So surrealism style uses visual imagery. No, ang surrealism nagamit siya visual imagery from the subconscious mind. No, subconscious mind to create art without the intention of logical comprehensibility. No intention of logical comprehensibility. Cubism. So it was a truly revolutionary style of modern art, no? Ang Cubism, revolutionary style developed by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. So the first style, the Cubism was the first style of abstract art, no? So siya ang first style of abstract art, which evolved at the beginning of the 20th century in response to a world that was changing with unprecedented speed. So that is Cubism. Okay. So any question about Jack 6 before we proceed to Jack 8?
None, ma'am. None, sir.
Okay. So before we'll discuss the important concepts of Jack 8, let's have a guess, no, of the different terms that are used in Jack 8. Can you guess that? What is that?
Eudaimonia.
What is eudaimonia?
Happiness. Or
Happiness po, ma'am.
So you still remember your ethics. Bago pa yung ethics naman?
Dili, ma'am.
Pasa na?
Second year.
Okay, second year. So that is eudaimonia. Okay, this one.
Morality.
Morality. How about that one?
Dilemma.
Very good. This one.
Relativism.
Relativism. Very good. Relativism. Okay? So those are some of the important concepts in Jack 8. Okay? So ethics, that is the descriptive title of Jack 8, ethics. So this term is from the Greek word ethos, which means custom or manner of acting and behaving. Okay, so this is the custom or manner of acting and behaving. That is ethics. Morality, on the other hand, comes from the root word mores, which means custom or practice. Okay? Custom or practice, mores. It is a system of belief which is about what is wrong and what is the right behavior. Okay? So that is morality. The beliefs about what is wrong and what is right. Okay? Acts of man. What is acts of man? Man can control or man has no control?
Man has no control.
Okay. This refers to those of acts which man has no control. Thus, an involuntary act such as your emotions, blood circulations. Okay, that's act of man. Human act. What is that? Actions which are within the culture of man, no? Katong makontrol sa tao. Like, for example, walking, taking, and walking, talking, eating. Okay, so these are actions which are within the control of man. No, we can control, like walking, eating, talking, etc. So therefore, this is a voluntary act. Okay, so not the same with acts of man in which man has no control. Human act, it is within the control of man. Okay? Eternal divine law. Can you still remember these terms? This is objective and is the ultimate and absolute norm of modality. It is governed by divine reason that reveals the necessary relations between the creator and the creatures. Okay, so that's the eternal divine law. Okay, the objective is the ultimate and absolute norm of morality. No, so that's the objective of eternal divine law. Okay, moral law. This is an ordinance of reason promulgated by those who have the authority and care of the community for promotion of the common good. Okay? So the reason promulgated by those who have the authority, katong na power, and as well as the care of the community for promotion of the common good. So that's, when I say common good, good for all. Okay, that's moral law. Moral experience, wherein a person understands that the values he or she believes to be important are characterized or thwarted. Okay? So this is the moral experience. Moral standards. This refers to the code of what is right and what is wrong, no, without reference to specific behaviors or beliefs. Okay, that's moral standard. What is right, no, distinguishing right from wrong. So these standards are based on good reason and impartial considerations, overriding self-interest, no? So moral standards is not only for yourself, no? It's overriding self-interest. So examples of moral standards are feelings of guilt and shame when going against his or her moral standards. Maulaw siya kung he knows that it is wrong, but still he or she is doing the wrong one. So there is a feelings of guilt. Okay, the non-moral standards can be considered relative standards by which something or someone is judged as either good or bad. No? So ang non-moral can be considered relative standard, something that is judged as bad or good. The rules on non-moral standards vary. Nagkailain ang rules. Okay? The rules on non-moral standards vary because these rules depends on the guidelines agreed by a particular group. So it depends, no, on a particular group. No, they have their guidelines. Yes. Ako, nasa nan? For a while class, ha? Wala siya. Okay. So, okay. So another term that is important for to have to remember. So it is a situation in which a difficult choice has to be made. So the dilemma is something or a situation wherein it is difficult for you to make a choice between two or more alternatives, especially equally undesirable ones. Okay? So that is dilemma. When we say moral dilemma, this occurs when there are two or more actions that one can possibly do. Okay? So ang dilemma is a situation in which difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, no? Puro sila undesirable. Puro sila dili nimo gusto. Okay? So that's dilemma. However, moral dilemma occurs when there are two or more actions that one can possibly do, no? Na ay duha or tulo ka alternatives that you can do. There is a moral reason. So therefore, there should be moral reason for doing such an action. Or one cannot do all the possible actions presented. So only one action has to be chosen. So that is moral dilemma. Okay, instinctive behavior. So this is a kind of behavior which is hardwired, inborn characteristics response to specific environmental stimuli. No? Instinctive behavior is hardwired, inborn characteristics. Instinct, no? Na sa inyo, no? Hardwired, inborn to a specific environmental stimuli. Rational behavior refers to decision-making process where the person acts in ways that best achieve his or her needs in accordance with his or her set of preferences, priorities, and principles. No? So it's the process of decision-making wherein a person acts in ways what is best, no? That best achieve his or her needs. That is rational behavior. Emil Durkheim is the father, no, the known father of sociology, who asserted that culture has the power over individual to create beliefs such as the belief in God. Okay, so that's the culture, no, has the power over individual to create beliefs. according to Emil Durkheim, the father of sociology. Edward Taylor is also known to be the father of cultural anthropology. By the way, class, what is anthropology? Anybody who can try? What is anthropology?
Scientific study of humanity po.
Study of
Can you come?
anthropology is the study of humanity, human biology.
Okay, very good. It's the study of human beings, no? So anthropology. So cultural anthropology is the culture, no, of human beings. So Edward Taylor, no, the father of cultural anthropology, who stated that in general, culture is the way of life of a group of people that includes their knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. So culture is a way of life of a particular group of people, which part of culture are knowledge, beliefs, art, morals, law, customs, and any other capabilities. Okay, Plato. Plato is an Athenian philosopher. No, he is a philosopher who wrote the Republic. So Plato who wrote is the one, no, the Athenian philosopher who wrote the Republic. In that book, the Republic, he warned about the power of public to corrupt the young person's mind. Okay, so that is the content of the Republic, no, written by Plato. Karl Marx is a German philosopher and the father of communism. No, Karl Marx, the father of communism, same time a German philosopher who believed that culture served to justify inequality. So that's according to Karl Marx, no? That culture justifies inequality because the ruling class determines what is right and wrong while the rest merely follow. Okay, cultural relativism. This explains why one behavior or practice is completely acceptable by a particular group of people. Okay? So it explains, no, one behavior or practice, no, that is acceptable by a particular group while it is taboo in another or not acceptable. So cultural relativism refers to the idea that values, knowledge, and behavior of people must be understood within its own cultural context and not by the standards of other cultures. No, so every culture may have different values, knowledge, and behavior. Therefore, that is cultural relativism, no? When the idea that values, knowledge, and behavior of people must be understood. Okay? Franz Boas is a German-American anthropologist who first articulated that civilization is not absolute, but it is relative. Okay? So civilizing, no? Civilization is not absolute but relative. Alain Locke is the first to use the term cultural relativism. So it was Alain Locke, no, who tried to use the term, no, cultural relativism in the year 1924. Universal values. This refers to caring for the young. No? Universal values. Murder is wrong and tell the truth. Okay, so universal values is what is true to all. No? From the word universal. Moral character. So this is the existence of virtues such as integrity, courage, honesty, and loyalty. Okay? So these are the moral character. No? The existence of virtues such as integrity, courage, honesty, and loyalty. Moral character also refers to the tendency to act or to think in a particular way for which a person is held morally responsible. Okay? So you are responsible with your act or with your thought in a particular way. That is moral character. Virtue ethics is an approach that reduces the emphasis on rules, consequence, and particular acts. Okay? So virtue ethics reduces the emphasis on rules, consequence, and particular acts. The virtue ethics focuses on the quality of that person, no? The value, the quality of the person. It is more concerned with whether the person is acting as a virtuous person should act in the situation. Perawan, ano man eh. Okay, next, Aristotle. This is also known philosopher, no, who argued that each person has a built-in desire. No, naatay built-in desire. That's according to Aristotle. To be virtuous, no, that's part of our desire to be virtuous, meaning you have the virtues. And that if the person is focused on being a good person, the right actions will follow effortlessly. That's according to Aristotle, no? That a good person can have right actions. Okay? Doctrine of the golden mean. This is the principle of being virtuous, which means that the moral behavior is the one that is the middle of the two extreme behaviors. Being virtuous, no? That's the doctrine of the golden mean. Okay, this one, the eudaimonia. This is the, so ito meaning sa eudaimonia, class?
Happiness.
Happiness. Translated as happiness, well-being, or the good life, which is the goal of human life. No, so eudaimonia is the goal of human life. And one example is the happiness, well-being, and good life. So Lawrence Kohlberg, he was at the 20th century developmental psychologist and moral philosopher. So according to Kohlberg's theory, moral reasoning, which is the basis for ethical behavior, has identifiable developmental stages. And each become more adequate at responding to more dilemmas as the person progresses from one person to the next. Okay? So that is the theory of Kohlberg's. It's about moral reasoning. Okay? The way you reason out. Okay? That's Kohlberg's theory. Okay, pre-conventional morality. This is judgment solely focused on the self. No? Ang iyang i-consider, iyang i-judge is iya lang self. That is pre-conventional morality. Magbata, no? Focus on the self. No? Judgment solely focus on the self. That is pre-conventional morality. Conventional, no, the reasoning is typical of adolescents and adults. This means that the decision and the morality of his or her actions are based on society's views and expectations. So that's conventional. Pre-conventional, walay pakialam, no? Myself, okay? Well, conventional careful, no? The decisions and the morality of his or her action are based on the society's views and expectations. Then, post-conventional morality, it is marked by a growing realization that people are unique and are independent. So that's post-conventional. People are unique and people are independent part of the society. Therefore, one's perspective is more important over what the rest of the society. So it's very important, to mingle with other people so that you can have different views and expectations. Then post-conventional morality, it is marked by a growing realization, no? Nakarealize na sa post-conventional that people are unique and are independent part of the society. So therefore, one's perspective is more important over the rest of the rest of the society thinks. Okay, another well-known philosopher is David Hume, who is also a historian, economist, and essayist, who famously placed himself to most moral philosophers and argued that reason alone is insufficient to yield a judgment that something is virtuous or vicious. Okay? So, according to David Hume, most moral philosophers, he argued to most moral philosophers that reason alone is insufficient to yield a judgment. Okay? Then Max Ferdinand Schiller, a German ethical philosopher who distinguished for his contributions in phenomenology, ethics, and philosophical anthropology, who believed that emotion is the most important aspect in human existence. That's according to Max Ferdinand Schiller. Emotion is the most important aspect in human existence. So that's why we have to be very careful because emotion is the most important aspect in human existence. Moral courage. This is the courage to put your moral principles, to apply your moral principles. That's moral courage. Even though you may be in doubt or afraid or face adverse consequences, you have to face the consequences. It involves mastery of the self. So moral courage is essential not only for a virtuous life, but also a happy one, because integrity is essential to self-esteem. Okay, what is telos? Class? Telos. All human actions would lead to desired so all human actions would lead to a desired end. So ikaw na, or which we have the chance to be good or bad. Okay, who is Saint Thomas Aquinas?
The patron saint of teachers.
Okay. Thomas Aquinas was the known patron saint of teachers. His most important works are the Summa Theologica, where he expounded on the 5 proofs of the existence of God, and the Summa Contra Gentiles, or the book on the truth of the Catholic faith is The theory of utilitarianism by Jeremy Bentham focuses on end or telos, no? Cultural end, that's called telos or happiness. So that's 8 or ethics. Any question? We proceed to Philippine culture.
None so far po. None so far po.
So let's have again another guessing. The terms or concepts used in GCE 30.